Hi, everybody. How are you today? So today's my recap of the Sean Diddy Combs case of what happened today, day 17. It was a sheer, utter disaster. Okay. Uh, we finally got Jane, who is under a pseudonym, to take the stand. That was a disaster because I would say 2 minutes into her testimony, everybody knew who she was. Yeah, but let's get to the disaster in the morning. Okay, it started out with Bana. Her name is Brianna Bagolin. She was on the stand. Now she testified yesterday, so this was a continuation today. Yesterday went really, really bad because they were asking her questions that she couldn't answer. They didn't make any sense. And what mostly I was talking about is that she says one thing in her lawsuit because she's also suing Diddy for a civil lawsuit of $10 million. In her lawsuit, she says that Diddy dangled her over a 17-story banister. And in Cassie's lawsuit, which Diddy settled for $20 million, she says she doesn't remember that. It was only so many people at the party. So that was really devastating yesterday. She just couldn't get around it. And I thought, that's it, you know, she can't really clean that up. And so that's about as bad as it can get. So let's hurry up this morning and get through it. But I was wrong. Oh, was I wrong? It got way worse. She kept contradicting herself. But one of the biggest things she I would say biggest contradiction, some people might call it a lie, is that she put a picture of her injuries from Diddy dangling her over the banister, 17 stories high, don't forget that. And she said she was all banged up. She put a picture of her injuries on social media. Well, come to find out, through IG records, metadata, they discovered that that picture was taken before it was posted on the day she said that Diddy injured her. That's because yesterday she testified that she didn't go to a doctor, a regular doctor. She went to a chiropractor. Tyrone Blackburn is the ultimate clout chaser. He has a reputation in the community of lawyers and common folks, such as myself, who like to follow cases. He was Sabrina Peterson's attorney in the T.I. Tiny case when they supposedly slipped things in people's drinks and, had wild, X all night long. He was proven to be a liar then. What he does is he gets these high profile cases and then he blackmails the person with the most money, just like he did in this case. He sent Diddy a demand letter that he pay it off or they would go public with the information. Now, Bana claims that when she found out that he wasn't being honest, she changed attorneys. It was complicated. It was not a good look. Now, does it prove that Diddy's organization, Bad Boy Records, is a criminal entity? It was obvious that she was scared, or okay, I'm going to say she was scared, and maybe the prosecution prepped her because it's not really smart to put anyone on the stand without prepping them. But even if you're prepared, sometimes if those questions from the opposite side come in and they're twisting things around, you can get flustered. So, but let's get to the highlight of the day. This is where Jane takes the stand. Now, before we start talking about Jane, remember that Mia was also under a alias name, and I would say maybe within 30 seconds of being on the stand, her name was out there. So everybody knew who she was, and the judge was furious. He was absolutely furious. And he didn't want that same mistake today. So he made it very clear before she took the stand is that no one was to say her name, and it wasn't supposed to get out in the public. But really, she was on the stand 2 minutes before we all realized that this is 50 Cent's baby mama. I won't say her name, but just look up 50 Cent baby mama. Now, it was really asinine for them to think that they could keep her name out the public. It's been in the public for a long time.
Some of my co-hosts, they got a couple questions for you, but I got one more question before they ask you a couple questions. We hear about 50's baby mom, Daphne, being involved in some of these things. Did you ever fuck Daphne, 50 Cent's baby mother?
Nah, every time I was called or involved in any way, it was only Cassie specifically.
All right, cool, man.
Also, it was highly publicized that baby 50 Cent's baby mother was with Diddy and caught up in this, I don't know, mess that they got going on. Do you guys remember when it was highly publicized that 50 Cent found out about it? Probably back in that he found out about it, he got upset. He trashed her apartment or condo. He even got caught. She called the police. He was arrested. All of this has been going on for a long time. So what is wrong with the judge? Does he really think that we don't know who he's talking about? The judge is out of his mind for thinking that this is going to remain private. And for them to ask her, how many children do you have? What does that have to do with anything? You didn't ask anybody else how many children that they have. Did the prosecution intentionally want us to know who this was so it could blow up in the public? Have her be the only person that you ask, how many children do you have? You didn't ask any of the other escorts how many children did they have. Somebody's playing a serious head game here. So anyway, she takes the stand and it goes from bad to disastrous. Okay. She claims that she started dating Diddy and they fell deeply in love. Now, first of all, that's quite impossible. Diddy doesn't love anybody but himself. So right there, I was squirmish when she said that. She claims they started dating back in 2020 and it blossomed into this beautiful love affair. She claims that she had never tried substances before in her life. He was the first person to give her E. And when she took it, she got really dizzy and she, fell into the sand on the beach. She also claimed but she took it the next day. He gave it to her. It was in the palm of his hands and he goes, here, this is going to make it better. SX, okay? And so that didn't make any sense because if it made you woozy and you had a bad reaction, why would you take it again? All right, so not only that is they made beautiful, fun love all that time that they were on a trip, okay? Oh, and this is the crazy part. How did she meet Diddy? Her girlfriend was dating him. So you took your girlfriend's man? Okay, if you say so. She said so many things that sounded, I don't want to call her names, but that didn't make sense. She said a lot of things that didn't make any sense, okay? She says that he talked about, hey, maybe we can bring people into our relationship. It will spice things up. She said she didn't want to do it. And then one day he said, are you sure? Because I can make it happen now. And she was like, all right, let's try it. So crazy. So they called in an escort. And I guess this is what they said. I I hate being this vulgar. I guess it was some of this to the escort, okay? And then he would watch again. He's the creeper in the corner. He would watch, and then after they would finish up with her in the bedroom. And this is how the cycle began. Then she got herself into a cycle of countless FOs, okay? And he would ask her to dress up because they would watch porn, and that really gets them into the fantasy thing. Listen, I don't judge what anybody does in their bedroom. She said he made it perfectly aware. He made it perfectly clear that he saw other women. She wasn't the only one. And she said she was okay with that because she loved him so much. Okay, and so then just wait. So she's in the cycle, but then it gets really weird. I guess the first time he was with her is when he gave her the X, and they were, I believe she said, Turks and Caicos. It doesn't matter. They were on vacation. And after that, he said, hey, you took the time to get off your work, and she's supposed to be an Instagram model, right? And you missed out on money. So here's $10,000. This doesn't make any sense because she has over 1 million followers, right? She has tons of followers. I don't know the exact number, but tons. $10,000 is nothing to these people that have big IG channels. Nothing. I'm sure you had access to $10,000. And then after that, he started paying her rent. And she said that her rent went from 10 to 15 up in there. Because at first they started out, she lived in New York, and then Diddy paid for her to move to Los Angeles. I don't know. So the jury doesn't know this part. Like 50 Cent is a billionaire. You can't get him to help you with rent. So you say you got to be with Diddy because every time you didn't do the FOs, he threatened not to pay your rent. It makes no sense. It really makes no sense. How can you be in love? And, so, the people in my chat, this is why I love going live. They started talking, and they were like, was she a girlfriend or was she a escort? We're just asking because every time you do it, you get handsomely rewarded. You're getting your place paid for. $10,000 to $15,000 a month is a lot of money, and she claims, well, and he did it, and I just asked him because I like to live well. Now, let's just be real, people. We know that a lot of these Instagram models are escorts that go to Dubai, they go to different people, different places to sleep with these men, and they will pay you handsomely. And I'm wondering if this is the case for 50 Cent's baby mother. It's just a thought. It's just a question because it feels like it. It really did not come off good. And I don't know if it didn't come off good because we know this story, that we know who your baby father is, 50 Cent. And if we didn't know and we were speculating in the middle of her testimony, here goes 50 Cent posting. So at the beginning, she said their love nicknames for each other is, she called Diddy Ernie, and he called her Bert from Sesame Street. What else did she say? She said that every time she was with Diddy, he wanted her to do the freak off until he was manipulating her. She also said that she would tell him she didn't want to do it, but she felt obligated because he was paying the rent. And then after the testimony, she stayed back and she talked to her attorneys, and then the attorney said to the judge, can we make sure that her name doesn't get out there? It was already out there the minute she hit the stand. It was already out there. I was getting them in my chat. Sharrell, we think this is so-and-so. But for me, when she said my baby's father doesn't get along with Diddy, it was a wake-up call. But then when they said, and you only have one child, I was done. So, it's weird. Now let's talk about, oh, one more thing. We can't talk about this. I believe it was right after lunch. Diddy got caught looking at the jury and shaking his head, nodding his head at jurors during the first person's testimony. The judge scolded him. He said, "This is a warning. You are not to look at the jury, and you especially are not to make any gestures." He said, "The next time it happens, you will be removed." Now, listen, everybody knows when you go to court, you do not look at the jury, period. He was acting like he was in control of the room because he was slipping notes to his attorneys. He's nodding at Bana. He looks over to the jury. We can't still find witness number 3. You got people saying, hostile witnesses that's giving half-ass answers. It's only natural for me to think, is Diddy paying off people? Is he doing what he has a track record of doing? I don't know. But that's what happened. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Until next time, bye for now.